Hey, gorgeous humans, and welcome back to the Mystic in Training podcast with me, Melissa Amos. So, this one's fresh, like just happened this weekend, fresh. And I caught myself telling myself an old story, something that wasn't really true, and something that actually was protecting me, I suppose, from something, and we'll go into it. And I thought it was interesting considering what we spoke about in the last couple of episodes. I thought that this would be an incredible subject to dive into. So, what shifted it? Well, I have decided to redo my NLP training. I first did it in 2010, back in my corporate days, and I decided to revisit it because, when we go back to things, we see things with new eyes. We're coming at this from a new direction. And I thought it would just help. So here I am. Now, what's really interesting is I've come in now with a very different lens. I'm coming in now with years of experience as a coach and as a mentor and as an intuitive and as a psychotherapist, which I hadn't done before when I first did this in 2010. It was very much with new eyes. And it was also very much from a personal development point of view. I did want to get into coaching and training at that time. I think I spoke a bit about this in the first episode, but now I can really get into some of the nuance. So this one's for you. If you ever thought that you'd followed the inner nudge, but it didn't quite get you to where you want to be, and if you're confused about whether it's intuition or something different, well, then listen up, Buttercup, because we're going to be diving into this real life situation. So you may know that I love yoga. I go to yoga most days and I love it. I sometimes it challenges me, it quite often challenges me. But I think what it is I've really anchored into the feeling of how I feel afterwards. This connection, this groundedness, this embodiment, and it drives me into still going. It drives me through the discomfort. I've managed to develop this routine that I know that I need to book it 3 days before. I set my alarm, I know I'm on, and I literally create my diary around my yoga practice. So if you're ever wondering where I am and why I won't, or why I can only do a call at 9 a.m. or 12:30 p.m., it's the yoga that is taking priority. Now, I am somebody who really values comfort. And interestingly, I went into my Akashic Records once and it came up about why. And so it's a part of me that I honor. I love to feel comfortable in my body. I don't like to go and do anything too strenuous. I'm definitely not one of those no pain, no gain kind of people. Yet with yoga, I've somehow managed to train myself, I suppose, into knowing how good it is for me. And when I can't go, I get a bit agitated if if I'm like, oh, I've got to miss it. And especially if it's more than a couple of days in a row, I can get a little bit agitated. Which is interesting because I was always somebody who resisted exercise. And, I did a bit here and there and I do enjoy going for walks, but definitely wasn't a priority. Anyway, so it's safe to say I love it now, and it's safe to say that I've managed to reprogram this. What it does for me is it helps me feel more grounded in my body. What it does for me is it gives me a space to be fully present with no work, with no other responsibilities. Yes, sometimes my mind comes in and starts telling me all the things that I could be doing, should be doing, need to work out. And it brings me back into the present moment. Plus, it's made me more flexible in my body, which very interestingly has also made me more flexible in my approach it just to life. They do, and this is one of the premises of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, how our neurology changes our language, and it's external and internal language, which then changes the programming that we are. So as I've been changing my programming in my body, it's changed how I think about myself. So therefore more flexibility. It's also made me stronger. I was at the park yesterday with the kids and there was one of those training equipment available, and we were standing on there, and the kids were like putting their legs up, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And I stood there and I put my legs up, and I'm like, I'm actually really like my core has gone really strong. So it's helped me in a number of ways. Plus, I enjoy it and the people and all of the things. Now, so there's a whole load of classes on at my gym. But whenever somebody talks to me about going to a HIIT class, the legs, bums, and tums, even Zumba, right? I'm like, no, that's not for me. You will never get me in one of those classes. And I'm like, no, my body just likes comfort. It's an idea of torture for me. Like, no, not happening. And so I was on the course this weekend, and we were talking about submodalities. So submodalities are the language that we use to speak to ourselves. So how we sense the world through our vision, through our auditory, through our feeling. And it breaks it down into different categories, if you like. And we had an exercise where we were looking at something that we really love and that we really enjoy. And then I led somebody through a process where she had something that she was resisting. And then we began to change these submodalities. We began to shift not what she was thinking, but how she was thinking about these things. And it got me thinking, as you do. And I started to think about yoga. And it's like, well, when I think about yoga, I bring myself into it. And actually, what's quite interesting is I bring myself into either like one of those delicious positions, when you're just like, oh, this feels so good. My body's so stretched. Think like, child's pose or pigeon or one of those delicious like supine twists, right? One that just makes your body feel. So when I think about yoga, I'm there. I'm in the present moment. My body's feeling good. It's really nice and quiet and it's peaceful. And maybe I can hear the beautiful music that's playing, and I'm there in Technicolor, full embodiment presence. And I'm really tuned into the good feelings. And I'm like, well, this is great. And clearly, over the last, 4 years, it's been motivating me to go. Now, I then started thinking about HIT. I mean, even the word is horrible, isn't it? It's like, why would I go and just be hit? So then I was thinking about how I respond to HIT exercises or like legs, bums, and tums. Now, I do have to admit that the people that go in and out of these, they're not necessarily like the gym bunnies, right? You think like, like if they could do it, I could do it. However, that's not the point. When I think about it, what I think about is I'm in there, I'm like dying, I'm out of breath, I'm bright red. Now I have no frame of reference for this. This is just like my imagination has painted me this amazing picture. I'm out of breath and music's loud, people are jumping, there's sweat everywhere. I feel like I'm out of breath. I'm like, "Ugh." um, I'm uncomfortable, but also there's like this. So where in the yoga, it's kind of like it's around me and it's peaceful and I'm kind of in it. With this, it's almost like I'm watching it. With this, it's almost like I'm seeing myself in this position. And I am feeling all over my body this like heat. And I mentioned it to my teacher, and we just did a tiny bit of work on it, literally for 3 minutes. And I found the resistance in my body and could feel how it felt. And all I began to do was just change that. Like, I wonder what happens if we create that resistance and we expanded it, we softened it. I wonder what happens if rather than being embodied in this, sweaty, horrible thing, that actually I pull myself out and I just kind of look at myself or feel from the outside in. I wonder what happens if rather than because it's like even I was thinking about the noise, and if you know anything about me, I am very sound sensitive, and it was almost like I was imagining like the sound of the teacher screaming like get those legs up again, may or may not be true. That it was kind of like descending on me, like it was coming from backwards, forwards, and it was like attacking me. So rather than that, just changing it to how similar to how I felt it in the, or how I experienced it in the yoga class, of it more kind of like flowing around and through me, like moving through the body rather than like encompassing the body. And I just started to do that. So again, it wasn't like, no, you won't feel this way, or no, change that up, change from feeling bad to feeling good. It was literally just changing the way that I was experiencing all of that. And one of the things we did, which was really interesting, was it was like the thought of going was giving me this resistance right in my solar plexus. It was like a push back in my solar plexus, which, by the way, is quite an intuitive response. When we're teaching intuition, it's something where like, how does it feel in the body? And actually, my body was contracting. It was literally, if you're watching this on video, you can see like I'm like literally being pulled back. And all we did was just change that. It's like, what if it was drawing you towards it? And it wasn't pushing you forward, it wasn't pulling you. It was like, what if there was just a drawing towards it? And I was like, okay, we'll just play with that. We can always put it back. And I started to draw towards it. And I'm like, this actually doesn't feel so bad anymore. And this whole process literally took 3 minutes. And it was almost a throwaway thing at the end of the class. Something just really interesting has happened. So I went for my walk this morning, my regular walk. I've done this a couple of times before, but never twice. So I'm walking, there's one bit where I can go up this hill. And I'm like, I'm going to run up the hill. And I ran up the hill. I ran. Now, don't get too excited. It was literally for about 45 seconds, but it was uphill. I was just focusing on my breathing, as I do in yoga, and I ran to the top of the hill, and then I was kind of out of breath, and I let myself settle, and I'm like, I feel, after the breath came back, I'm like, I feel really good. I felt more energized. And then I was walking back round. There's this kind of little park area I go through. I ran again. I like ran. This time it might have been like an extra 10 seconds and I ran. And I feel good. This is amazing. So what do we think? These things, are they connected? I think so. It was almost like the resistance that I'd felt in my body dissipated. It had changed. It had made me realize that there was a part of me, and this is what I'm going to put this down to. There was a part of me that thought this programming that had, remember, neuro-linguistic programming, this programming that had been running in me. I'm going to imagine from when I was a teenager, I think even probably younger than that. I have an older brother. I'd always be trying to keep up with him and I couldn't. He was taller than me, and I don't know, like there was a resistance there where, and you think back to PE at school and you used to get a stitch, remember that? They'd push you and you'd be like boiling hot and all of this stuff, and I remember actually being in PE going, when I get out of school I am not doing this stuff again. The irony that I was the sports captain in my I think in my top year or second from top year. It was definitely a popularity contest rather than anything else. But anyway, I digress. There was this programming running through me that was saying to me, no, going to something like this where they're going to shout at you and put your body through this pressure is not for you. Now, it was giving me all of the intuitive signals, the contraction, the no, the if I tuned in internally, it was like no. And it was giving me an alternative about yoga. And I'm like, yes. And so I can justify that this is okay because I'm still doing exercise, I'm still walking, I'm all of this, I don't need it, blah, blah, blah. But what was happening is my internal world was telling me something to try and protect me, to try and protect me from discomfort. Comfort is one of my strong values. It was trying to protect me from feeling a way that I don't want to feel. And so it was giving me my body, my intuition, if you like, my inner voice was giving me all of the signals that are saying to me no. But all it took was another intuition because I have directed my intuition and I have said to it many a time, I live a soul-led life. We're going in for our highest evolution. And quite recently, in the last few weeks, I've been on a real embodiment journey. I'm going through a detox protocol at the moment. I'm being very present in my body. And so this is kind of top of my list. There's like the hot girl era is coming in, right? And so there's another intuition, and how it came out was while I was on this course and I was working, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but it was right at the end where something said to me, just mention this. And it was literally, we were about to come off, and I was like, you know what? It's really funny. How I think about yoga is this, how I think about like HIIT or legs, bums, and tums is this. And it was like something made me say it. And I'm not always, believe it or not, I'm not always that vocal in like group settings and in classes. But again, it just came up. There was a feeling that I need to say this. And so maybe now, as I'm bringing this into my awareness, as I've aligned my intuition now to not just look for comfort, which it had been doing and it's been doing so well for so long, but to look at growth and to look at embodiment and vitality. This has been a word that's been quite high up on my list, vitality. That then there's been this opportunity that's got me to relook at how I feel about my body and my health and my exercise and all of this, which then has led me to that, to saying that sentence, which who knew would then inspire my tutor to just do this tiny exercise, and which then inspired me to run, which then inspired me to come and talk about this, which who knows, maybe will inspire me to go to a another class. Who knows? It's not happened yet, but it's only been 2 days. But who knows? And it's just very interesting that this conversation around intuition, and where is it actually leading you, is now giving me real life experience of it doesn't always lead you right. And so I'm wondering for you, dear listener, I'm wondering where this is showing up for you. If you have got an old program that's running that is keeping you in this space of no, that's keeping you in this space of resistance. And my invitation to you is simply to not invite yourself to change what you're thinking about a certain thing, but to think about how you're thinking about a certain thing. And so, for example, if you've got an example like mine, or maybe it's around, starting something new or quitting something, just begin to notice how you think about the thing that you love. And you can pick anything, it doesn't have to be related. You could think about, I don't know, cuddling up on your sofa, reading your favorite book, right? It actually doesn't matter, but just something that you love, something that you find easy, something that you're drawn to, and just notice how you're thinking about that, how you see it. So was it all around you? Is it in front of you? Is it in full color? Is there a contrast? Is it moving? Is it still? Are you in it? Are you looking at it? How you hear it? So is it in surround sound? Is it crackly? Is it pure? Is it constant? Is it sharp? How's the quality, the timbre, and how you feel about it, like where you feel it. If you were to describe that feeling, what would it be? Is it within you? Is it outside of you? Is it encompassing you? Is it sharp? Is it smooth? And just start to think about all of those. Just bring it to mind and just witness that, and maybe write it down. And then begin to think about the thing that you're resisting and just start to change. Pick some of the things that feel important in the way that you're experiencing your joy, and then move that into the resistance. So if you like the example that I gave, if when you're hearing it, it's like it's the good thing, it's like it's flowing through. Whereas if you think about the thing you don't and it feels like it's like coming all over you from back to front, just change it to the flowy and just feel what happens. If you're in the picture when you're in the thing that you love and you're out the picture when you're thinking about the thing you hate, switch it around. What happens when you move in there? And just notice what happens. And that's your homework because you know I'm loving giving you homework. That's your contemplation for today. And I'd love for you to come back and to let me know what's changed, what you picked, and what's changed now that you've done that really short exercise. And so we will be diving into another one of my mystic and training musings in the next episode. And I cannot wait to hear what's changed for you. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.